So you probably are covering it up. So you probably, geez, can't say that. Hi guys, welcome to St. James Home Staging, where we talk about all things home staging. I am Mona, your luxury home specialist, and if you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So today I want to talk about 5 things that you may be doing that could be throwing off your luxury vibe. Let's get into it. So the first thing on my list that you may be doing or maybe considering doing, or you might have even seen happen, is so you know you have a set of dining chairs, right? Say about 8. Yet your dining room can only accommodate for 6. So you take those 2 remaining chairs and you shove them in a corner somewhere, like in the dining room corners, as if it's additional seating for those who want to sit in the corner. Or you stick it in your living room and you just try to fill up an empty corner. Or maybe you take it upstairs to a guest room and you add a pillow and you try to make that work as well. But what it really does is take away from the intent of each individual room. It's like it was leftovers and we threw it somewhere, we shoved it somewhere. So what I would recommend is you take those 2 additional chairs, and if you don't want to sell it, put it in a garage, maybe put it in the storage, put it in a place where it is clear that it's not trying to pretend it's supposed to be something, because it is just, no matter what corner you're trying to put it in, it is not going to happen. It's so just, yeah, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. So if you know, you know. So yes, so extra chairs shoved in places that you don't necessarily need, or it wasn't intended for a particular space. Say goodbye. Make you an extra couple of bucks off of those 2 chairs and actually buy you a chair that is intended for corner spaces, or an additional piece of furniture that would work for the space. I've seen this done in some very notable publications by some very popular designers, and I just think we sometimes reach. No shade if this is what you're doing. I just think it just takes away from the look you intended. We love your 6 chairs. We believe that 8 chairs is awesome as well, but if it doesn't need to be in the corners, don't put them in the corners. Let it go. So this next one is pretty obvious. I'm sure you've heard it a time or two, and it's really just not hanging your mirrors too high or awkwardly enough too low. I don't feel like that's really a thing, but definitely hanging them too high is, it's like one of those one and done kind of things. Once you hang it up, you're like, okay, it's up, whatever, I'm over it. Unless you're like me and you want to pound a million holes in the wall, which I am actually working on that. I measure twice, and I not a hole once, but it just, keep it going there. I'm working on not putting so many holes in the wall. So, as I develop that skill, you just keep in mind that you want to definitely hang mirrors to where they actually are beneficial. If you can't see yourself in them, kind of like, what's the point? And I know there are certain heights that people say, hang it this high, hang it that high. Listen, you hang that mirror according to what actually makes sense for you to see. You don't really want, because you might be like my daughter, she's like 4'11", so this is probably what it's going to look like when I hang mirrors for her versus the rest of the house. So you kind of want to hang it at an average height for the most part your household. Now if you have someone who's kind of in the 6-foot range and then you're in the lower 5-foot range, then okay, maybe meet somewhere in between. But at the same time, who uses the mirror the most? I know I'm joking, but it really is beneficial to make sure you're hanging the mirrors at a height where it is just in the center, for the most part, the center of the wall if you don't have excessively high ceilings. Again, make it make sense. It definitely wouldn't make too much sense if you have like a rectangular mirror and you're hanging it super high where all you can see is the reflection of the other side of the wall. And we do that a lot, especially when we hang mirrors over our sofas. It's kind of strange and like high-key dangerous when we're hanging the mirrors over the sofa and it's kind of a long rectangular mirror. So consider what you're actually looking at when you're hanging your mirror, or what you want to see with that mirror. Make sure you're hanging your mirrors in a more functional way. Make sense? Now there are sites that will break it down to you, the height of a mirror and what makes sense, and just kind of really get into the logistics of it all. But to each their own, just kind of make it make sense for you, the height that you hang your mirror. Just don't be hanging up stuff all willy-nilly, y'all. Let's treat our spaces with some TLC. So next up is using every piece of decor you've pretty much ever owned. Guys, if you're like me, you're constantly changing out your stuff. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Now, I'm not a big, like, holiday decorator. I'm not like, oh, Easter and then rabbits and ducks and, you know, oh, Halloween and spiders and skeletons and all of that. But I am more of a mood person for the seasons. So when it's winter, I do like to get more warmer, cozier, like flannel type things around the house. And, you know, and when it's like spring, I like to have more flowier pieces of furniture that are that feel cool and fresh, maybe lighter pieces, you know. And in summer, it's just what it is, you know, whatever it's feeling like that summer, that's just how we roll. But, and you know, of course, fall, everybody likes to decorate for fall. I think, you know, you got your little orangey vibes and browns and all your earth tones throughout the house. So that's just something that I know for me, I enjoy. But if you're a holiday person along with the seasons, you probably have way more decor than I have. And so you're putting in so many knickknacks and so many different pieces of maybe artwork or decor pieces to display, yet you're not putting them away. Unless it's like, okay, the Easter bunny went away and then the Christmas lights went away. But other than that, all the other little things like the wicker baskets or some sort of Christmas chest that you had, you know, all of that stuff still remains. And it's just like, bruh, you're not giving yourself enough space and room to just enjoy, just for one, your creativity, and you're not interchanging your space so that you can really appreciate the mood that you really want the room to have, because it becomes a cluttered thrift store. So watch yourself, because we love decor, but pace yourself in the way that you're displaying your decor. So make sure you're putting things away, you know, get your bins for the seasons. And I'm a stickler for bins, right? I'm always talking about them. Or even sell them, Goodwill them, donate them. Start a store on used decor. You know, online there's money and everything, so that way you can constantly enjoy everything that you've purchased or that you're interchanging out for, or so that you can interchange it for the season.
Or so that you can interchange it for the seasons.
Oh, hi, how are you? And so, in the same vein as that, this tip complements the last one that I just gave. And basically it is over overpowering your walls or coming in too hot. I am guilty of this, so I struggle because blank spaces are not my favorite, but I also know the power of the blank space really makes a huge difference in the way a room can feel and avoiding feeling like it's excessive decor in there. And that is putting everything on every wall. And I feel like I've mentioned this before, but why not bring it up again? Give yourself an opportunity to actually enjoy that blank wall. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the side of the wall shouldn't have anything next to it or in front of it, but you don't necessarily have to have art and mirrors and art and every kind of shelf and all kinds of things on it. Feel free to just place a plant, maybe even a color to that wall, or some sort of board and batten or something like that. Anything that does accentuate the wall. If you struggle completely with a blank wall, but it doesn't necessarily have to have a ton of artwork and picture frames and all sorts of things on it. So enjoy the blank space. Let it speak to you. Okay, so this one is probably going to hurt a few feelings, but let's get into this. Your couch, it's probably time to let it go. I know some of us have had our couches since we've gotten our first apartment, or maybe it is your first apartment, or you've just had it since you met your boo. This is the sofa that you bought together, and family memories and history and all that good stuff, and maybe it's sentimental to you. But it's been neglected, or it's been overused, or overloved. How about that? It's been truly loved, and it shows. And maybe for you, you might not be able to see it, but your company is probably like, and I'm supposed to sit where? So consider that your couch may need to be replaced. And if you don't want to replace it, maybe upgrade it. For example, couch covers, getting it restuffed. Some of this you can actually do yourself. Some of it you might want to get professionally done. It's totally up to you. Or maybe even upgrading the legs on the sofa. There's a variety of ways that you can actually improve your existing sofas. And unfortunately for some of us, the couch is just, we just need to call it. We just need a moment of silence for all the sofas that are really done for. So consider removing that sofa, consider getting you something new and fresh. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there who actually will purchase your rundown sofa. So maybe clean it up a bit. Hey, that might make a difference too, you know. But just take a good look at your sofa and realize how you probably have been decorating around your sofa instead of actually getting a new sofa to spruce up your place. So you probably are covering it up. So you probably, can't say that. So you probably are covering it up with pillows or throw blankets and trying to hide stains and tears and all of the good stuff that shows that you've loved your sofa. But when it's time to let it go, you know. So consider changing it out once again and see how it changes your space. And if you don't want to get rid of it, one more thing, downgrade it, right? To your man cave or your kids cave or your other space downstairs in the basement or in that extra room that you have. Consider putting it there so that you can still love on it as a family, but get you something fresh and new in your main space. So those are the things that you might be doing that could be throwing off your luxury vibe. Now, again, decor is subjective. There may be some things on this list that you might be like, girl, please, I'm continuing to do these things. Hey, it's all you. You know, you just have to make sure you're enjoying your space. But this could be some things that you might want to consider and maybe test out. It might change the way your space feels, or you can recommend it to someone else. So yes, recommend this video to someone else. It might bless them. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to like this video. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And turn the notification bell on because it helps the algorithm. So I'm going to give you a second to do that. Okay, all good? Thank you so much. And remember, you are great, so be great.